I'm Margaret WINDSOR, and I've got a lot of videos on since over a year ago, since August the 3rd, when Alexis Murphy disappeared, and there's connection, they're mind control murders. I wrote about mind control back in the murders back in, after I'd worked for doctors in 76 till antifreeze was put in me April Fool Day of 80. And I was you can't tell what happened to me just in this period of time. Had a letter from the FBI June the 23rd of 79, and then the antifreeze put in me. And where I was living off Bentley Road, Laurelwood Apartments, when I got the letter from the FBI in 79, and I just rented this. I'd moved from Moonraker, a couple of blocks down in Marietta Apartments, where I'd done the book Larry Flint was shot. The person was programmed to shoot him in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and kill his attorney. So I've got all this on here. I'm trying to give you just a little background. But I got the letter from the FBI, and I thought all this was happening because of my writing the book, because it was a lot of doctors involved in it, and Emory University and Center for Disease Control, Warren and Rosina Matthews, who were forensic pathologists at Piedmont Hospital, Atlanta, where Larry McDonald, congressman, doctor of urology, worked, and I could get into other murders that happened there. Gene Srokelman I was writing about. I'm going to fast forward. Larry McDonald's plane, he was on the KAL Korean jetliner that went down, was shot down by the Soviets, August the 31st of 83. I was flown out to Flint. He did an article on me, an editorial, April of 84, saying I knew who was responsible for his shooting, and that they'd made a pauper out of me. So I'm going to go from there. I'm trying to give you some background. I'm going to get into this first because I haven't put this on anything. This whole thing has made the victim, me, out to be the villain. Philip, I was kidnapped and brought there, and I'm going to show you the pictures in a minute. To a pigsty is what it was. I've just gotten these photos recently of this family, Dempsey, and a couple of photos when I was growing up. But what I wanted to put in here was, it's so hideous. Philip, you get into a name game, and how I know I wrote the book on mind control and shootings and killings, and then had antifreeze put in me and worked for the district attorney Simpson and all this in this condition, and moved up to Roanoke and lived on the Appalachian Trail because my jobs were shut down. I mean, it's really finding out what people are really like. The ones that took care of me are the British and the Germans and some Americans. Most of the Americans find it a joke, a sick joke that they could do this to me. And I'm Victoria II, heir to the British Crown. And I won't get into that now because I wanted to put this on here quick. And I didn't remember this. You get into Philip, the name Philip, and Philip's a cousin of mine. He married Elizabeth. She's illegal. So you got two of my cousins married to each other and living in Buckingham Palace. And they have everything that was mine. And my father, Edward VIII, who was married to Claudia O'Keeffe, an American, a teacher, who was sister to artist George O'Keeffe. Now then, history would tell you my father married Wallace Simpson. She married a double. And all of it's a lie. And all the illegal treaties that happened after my kidnapping. And I am the legal heir. I was kidnapped in 41. I'll get to that in a minute. Philip was brought there. I think he had to have been kidnapped too, and I'm not going to get into who his real father is, I think. He just retired from ATF. And you get other names that are involved. I was given the name of a twin, Peggy and Dempsey, and I married a Childers. The twins were both dead when I was dropped off at Moulton. And you get into the Illuminati helped kidnap me, and that consists of the ambassador appointed by Roosevelt was John F. Kennedy's father, Joe. And JFK and his brother Joseph used to be there while I was at the embassy in London when I was kidnapped and brought to Moulton. So I'm just going to skip because it was the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Jews, the Freemasons. And my own uncle helped kidnap me and take down my father and put a 99-year seal on the crimes. So this gets into a long list of crimes totally being committed, and then when it's tried to be addressed or told, these very people are really they are the soul of respectability, supposedly. They do not want this told, and they'll go to any length to shut you up, me up, okay? So I want to go back to, you get into the name Geneva, and I won't try to give all of it, and Philip, me being taken there, kidnapped, and I was given the name Peggy. My name is Margaret, and Peggy's just like Hannah, it's a nickname. So Philip, I was talking to him because I had the antifreeze put in me, and I'm going to skip all this. It should have killed me. This is just a part of it. I didn't learn about my kidnapping, my real name, until late '83. And Philip told me, and I don't have contact with him anymore because I don't know that he can. I loved him. He was like a brother to me growing up, and I still do. But he told me, he said, if you ever get back and can see a picture, because everything I had was stolen, look at the one where you were in the ninth grade, and it was the Solishes on the house. And Solish was about the only Jew in Moulton, and now looking back, I know that he was sent there to keep tabs on me. And we had an attic. It was really an attic up over the house he rented on Wren Road. And the picture Philip was talking about, I remembered it when he said that without going back to see it. It was made next door to me in Herbert Lee's front yard. They were neighbors, and Herbert and Herschel were teachers at Lawrence County High School where I went, and I liked Herschel, but it was Herbert. They lived next door at Solish's on Wren Road. And a picture of me, and it made me start remembering, because I had not remembered it till then. I was real heavy, and the skirt, you could tell I was pregnant. Now, I'm in the ninth grade, and I'm going to leave all the remembering out. What I remember was being taken on out to Wren Road, Dr. Farish, and I'd forgotten how to spell his name up until today. It's Farish. And his son was George. His name was, well, I had it written down, I don't know, but it's Farish. And you go back and he lived next door to, on Wren Road. They had beautiful homes, him and Dr. Willard Irwin, okay? Dr. Irwin, Price Irwin, the father, was the doctor way back in '38 that delivered the twins. Now, I was born later, and I got copies of the birth certificates of the twins. They were actually marked through, and they put the date that I was given me, and this is illegal. Just marked through it. These are state documents, birth certificates. And by the way, they gave me a letter that said, from state Alabama, that Dr. Irwin must have just made a mistake on the year the twins were born. And then in that same letter, they misspelled Dr. Irwin's name. His name is spelled Irwin on the birth certificate. That's his name. In the letter, they even misspelled that Irvin. So it's got all this stuff in it that tells you that you can't make it up. So I'm going to go to this. Dr. Farish had been in the Army, and he came to Moulton, Alabama. They had what they call the Playhouse, and him and Willard Irwin, the son of Dr. Irwin that was the doctor of the twins, delivered them. They had this beautiful home, and in the middle they had what they call a playhouse. So it was kind of really a layout. But what I remembered after Philip told me to look at the picture was I was taken there, and I have vague memories of being locked up in a room and it dark all the time. And I remember George Ferris, the son, his mother, and his father's the doctor, coming in, and she at one point said, "I'm so sorry." She says, "I know you're telling the truth now." She says, "I know you don't know. I was pregnant. I didn't know anything about it." So anyway, George and I became friends, and the only thing I remember then was being let loose where I had lived by the Jew up in the attic, and I had